Welcome, travelers, to Adventures in Security. In this video, we'll explore the importance of a computer security incident response team, how it helps protect an organization, and the roles needed. You can download the script video from the link below. Today, we're going to demystify a term you'll hear constantly in cybersecurity, the CSIRT, or Computer Security Incident Response Team. Think of this lesson as building your mental org chart for incident response. Who shows up, what they do, and why it's so important that the team is defined before an incident hits. In the real world, breaches don't fail because people don't care. They fail because people don't know who's in charge. Decisions get stuck in email threads, evidence gets overwritten, and communication becomes chaotic. A CSIRT prevents that by giving you a planned, repeatable, accountable way to respond. We'll start with a clear definition of a CSIRT and how it differs from a SOC. Then we'll talk about the value, reducing damage, downtime, and confusion, and improving recovery and learning. Finally, we'll walk role by role through a practical CSIRT lineup, from incident command to forensics to legal and communications, so you can picture how this works in a real organization. A CSIRT is the group responsible for managing cybersecurity incidents end-to-end, from the first alert to full recovery and lessons learned. In other words, it's not just the security people. It's a coordinated response capability that pulls together technical responders and business decision-makers. Now, a quick distinction. Many organizations have a SOC, a Security Operations Center that does monitoring and alert triage. A CSIRT may include SOC staff, but the CSIRT's job is broader. It runs the incident response operation, including containment decisions, eradication steps, internal and external communications, and post-incident improvement. First, CSIRT Services Framework describes common CSIRT service areas, such as monitoring and detection, incident analysis, forensic evidence analysis, mitigation and recovery, coordination, and even exercises and training. Also notice the word team. Incident response is a team sport because incidents impact more than technology. They affect customers, operations, reputation, and sometimes legal obligations. So the CSIRT is designed to coordinate across functions, using an incident response plan that clarifies roles and responsibilities. Why invest in a CSIRT instead of reacting ad hoc? Because incident response is a race against time, and confusion is expensive. NIST Incident Response Guidance emphasizes that integrating incident response into broader risk management helps organizations prepare, reduce the number and impact of incidents, and improve the efficiency and effectiveness of detection, response, and recovery. That's the big idea. A CSIRT isn't only for the bad day. It's a capability that makes you stronger every day. A CSIRT also improves decision quality. During an incident, you'll face questions like, do we isolate systems and risk downtime? Do we preserve evidence? Do we notify customers? If those decisions don't have clear ownership, the organization either freezes or acts rashly. Finally, a CSIRT creates a learning loop. The goal isn't just to put out the fire. The goal is to learn, close the exploited gap, improve detection, update playbooks, and train people so the same incident is less likely or less damaging next time. Before you build roles, you need a charter, because confusion about scope is one of the biggest sources of conflict during an incident. Start with a mission statement like, minimize business impact from cybersecurity incidents through coordinated detection, response, recovery, and learning. Then define scope. Are you covering all business units, cloud and on-prem, third parties, OT/ICS? Next, authority. Who's allowed to pull the trigger on high-impact actions, like network isolation, password resets at scale, blocking critical IP ranges, or taking an application offline? If that authority isn't clear, teams hesitate and attackers benefit. A helpful way to describe what the CSIRT does is to align to recognized service categories. For example, the first CSIRT services framework includes services such as monitoring and detection, event analysis, incident report acceptance, incident analysis, artifact/forensic evidence analysis, mitigation and recovery, incident coordination, crisis management support, situational awareness, and knowledge transfer like exercises and training. In short, your charter prevents turf wars and creates clarity, especially when the pressure is highest. Even though every incident looks different, the workflow is surprisingly consistent. You can think in phases: prepare, detect/analyze, contain/eradicate, recover, and learn. NIST's latest guidance frames incident response as part of broader cybersecurity risk management and aligns it with the NIST cybersecurity framework concepts. So it's not a standalone emergency-only process. It's connected to how you govern, identify assets, protect systems, detect events, respond, and recover. Here's the teaching point. Your CSIRT must be built to support the whole life cycle, not just the containment heroics. Preparation includes access to logs, endpoint tools, backups, and the ability to contact the right people fast. Detection and analysis require triage skills and evidence discipline. Containment and eradication require technical operators who can make changes safely. Recovery requires business continuity thinking. And learning requires honesty, documentation, and follow-through. If your team is missing one piece, say, no recovery lead, you'll feel it immediately when the incident shifts from stop the bleeding to restore normal operations. Organizations structure CSIRTs in a few common ways. A centralized CSIRT is a dedicated group that handles incidents as their main job, great for large enterprises. A distributed or virtual CSIRT pulls trained responders from multiple teams when needed, common in smaller organizations. The sweet spot for many is hybrid, a small core team plus a roster of specialists on call. Here's the key design question. When the alert hits at 2 a.m., who answers first, and how do you escalate? A CSIRT, without an escalation model, is basically a phone tree made of wishful thinking. Also consider external help. Many organizations maintain an incident response retainer, so they can quickly engage outside forensics, ransomware negotiation support, or surge staffing. The CSIRT still leads internally, but external experts expand capacity. The goal is not one perfect org chart. The goal is coverage for the life cycle we discussed: detection, response, recovery, and learning, with clear handoffs and decision authority. Let's build the technical spine of the team. First is the incident commander, sometimes called the IR manager. This person runs the response like a project under pressure, assigns tasks, tracks status, manages priorities, and controls the narrative of what we know and what we're doing next. Next is your SOC or detection lead. They handle alert triage, validate whether something is truly an incident, and feed high-quality findings into the response. First explicitly calls out monitoring/detection and event analysis as core service areas in many CSIRT-style functions. Then you need forensics. Their job is evidence handling and investigation, building timelines, determining patient zero, identifying lateral movement, and preserving artifacts so you don't lose the story or compromise future legal needs. A threat intelligence or malware analyst adds adversary context, how the attacker operates, what tools they use, what to hunt for next, and how to prioritize containment. Finally, none of this works without engineering muscle. Endpoint admins, network engineers, cloud and identity engineers, people who can isolate systems, reset access, patch, restore backups, and monitor for re-entry. They're the doers that turn decisions into reality. Now for the roles many teams forget, until it's too late. A CSIRT isn't complete without business functions that control risk and communication. Start with an executive sponsor, someone senior who can remove roadblocks, approve major actions, and allocate resources quickly. Without this, response teams can get trapped in approval loops. Legal and privacy are crucial for breach notification decisions, regulatory obligations, evidence handling, and maintaining attorney-client privilege where appropriate. They also help interpret contracts, especially if the incident involves a vendor or customer data. Communications/PR prevents rumor-driven chaos. They coordinate internal updates, customer messaging, and media statements so the organization speaks with one voice. HR matters when incidents involve insider threats, policy violations, or employee access actions, like suspensions or account disabling, and to manage employee communications. Finally, risk/compliance and business continuity/disaster recovery connect technical actions to business outcomes. What processes are down? What's the acceptable downtime? How do we recover safely? And what controls must change after? CSIRT guidance emphasizes that an incident response plan clarifies roles and responsibilities and identifies key people needed during a crisis. A CSIRT isn't just people, it's a system. And the system needs to work when you're stressed, sleep-deprived, and facing uncertainty. Start with the basics: an incident response plan, IRP, plus playbooks for common scenarios like ransomware, phishing-led account takeover, or cloud credential leaks. The plan clarifies responsibilities and provides guidance before, during, and after incidents. Then add structure: a RACI, responsible, accountable, consulted, informed, for key actions, plus a decision log. During an incident, you want a written trail of why you did what you did. Operationally, successful teams run a war room cadence: short briefings, clear task owners, deadlines, and a dedicated scribe to capture notes and timelines. That scribe role is not glamorous, but it is priceless during post-incident review. Finally, practice. Run tabletop exercises and after-action reviews. FIRST's framework includes exercises and knowledge transfer as part of mature CSIRT services. A CSIRT that practices will outperform a larger team that improvises. Let's land this lesson with a practical takeaway: your minimum viable CSIRT. If you're starting from scratch, you don't need a 30-person team. You need clarity. First, appoint an incident commander and at least one backup. Someone must run the process. Next, ensure you have a detection path, SOC or monitoring, an investigation path, forensics capability, and the ability to execute changes. Then add the business stabilizers: legal/privacy, communications, and an executive sponsor who can approve high-impact actions fast. Finally, write it down: scope, escalation triggers, contact lists, and decision rights. NIST guidance emphasizes that incident response should be incorporated into overall cybersecurity risk management, improving preparedness and effectiveness across detection, response, and recovery. If you implement one thing this week, make it this: schedule a 1-hour tabletop exercise with your draft CSIRT roster. You'll immediately discover missing roles, missing access, and unclear decision points, while it's still safe to fix them. That's how you turn incident response from panic into practice. That's it for this video. If you learned anything, please remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And until next time, be careful what you click.